Yo, what's going on, everybody? Swagkage here, and welcome to today's video where I'm going to be talking about Boruto episode 27, A Shinobi Bound of Friendship. More shenanigans in the Hidden Mist Village, as expected. I would have actually been incredibly surprised if that's not what happened, given the preview in last week's episode. But it seems we're going to be in the Hidden Mist Village for a really long time, unless things go another way that I expect they may. And I say this because of the new opening. Another thing, I guess, that I should quickly touch on is there's a new opening, and I don't think I like it as much as the first one. It's good enough. Like, there aren't any huge problems I have with it. It's not bad. All Naruto openings tend to be pretty good, at least as far as music goes, you know. Animation and all of that other stuff during the opening, I don't really care about too much. But the reason I'm bringing up the opening so early is because Kagura is in it, like, for a brief scene, and it looks like he's gonna be a main member of the Boruto cast, and if that's the case, it seems like they're gonna be in the mist for a while, or one of a couple of other things is gonna happen. Either Kagura's gonna go back with Boruto and his friends to the Hidden Leaf Village, which, I mean, that'd be really weird. He's the son of the 4th Mizukage. I have no idea why he would leave the Hidden Mist, especially considering he's going to become one of the 7 ninja swordsmen soon, though I will touch on something that's interesting about that a little bit later on in the review. Or they're gonna do what they did with the sort of the Sarada ending that they had, the Naruto Gaiden arc, where, you know, they had it as a Sumire ending at first at the end of that whole feel, you know, that catastrophe where Sumire became Mary Sumire and just about nuked the entire Hidden Leaf Village. You know, there was this ending centered around her. It was really strange because it only lasted for like 1 episode, maybe 2, if I remember correctly, and then it changed to be focused on Sarada, and then they had this really lazy ending after the Gaiden arc ended, where it was just Sarada walking for like who knows how long. It was just a really long amount of time, you know, the entire length of the ending pretty much, until she reached Sakura and Sasuke. This is a bit of a tangent, sorry, I'm getting way off topic. The point that I'm trying to make is they might change the opening, they might take that scene out of it and replace it with something else after all of this business in the Hidden Mist is settled. I really hope that's what happens, because Kagura is cool, don't get me wrong, but he's not a fantastic character, and on top of that, it would just create so many problems no matter what if he stays in the series one way or another. I don't want them to stay in the Mist Village for very long, because in all honesty, this stuff isn't that interesting, and I definitely don't want him going back to the Leaf with everybody. I don't think this Hidden Mist Village stuff is going to last too terribly long, because the bulk of the opening was centered around all of the kids in the Hidden Leaf Village being in the Hidden Leaf Village. Granted, that might not be an indicator for much. They might go traveling off to tons of places. They might be in the Mist Village for the entirety of the opening, who knows? But regardless, I think we're gonna be here for a while, not just because of that, but also because at one point in this episode, Shino, Anko, and Mei, and by the way, before I get into the conversation they were having, Can we not have Mei and Anko both in the same room at the same time? Like, it's like they're aware of the fact that people used to be really attracted to these characters and they no longer are, because this is like the first instance of a set of characters like this who everybody responded the same way when they saw Anko was really fat now, and everybody responded the same way when they saw that Mei had saggy grandma boobies. They were just like, oh, I used to be attracted to you and now I'm not. And it's like, these are the only 2 characters I think there has been a universal reaction of that sort, and they're both in the same room at the same time right now. No idea what Anko is doing, by the way, like at some sort of like planning meeting between the Leaf and the Mist. It isn't exactly the Leaf and the Mist, it's more like the Land of Fire and the Land of Water. Actually, no, that's definitely wrong. So I keep getting off topic and rambling about stuff. The point is, I think the writers are like aware of the fact that Mei and Anko, I actually explained myself, yeah. What is Anko doing there? Like, she really isn't like a high up member of the Hidden Leaf Village. I guess I'll explain my problem with this after I talk about what's going on. So basically, every single one of the 5 great nations signed a peace treaty. Alright, there was fucking car alarm. So every single one of the 5 great nations signed a peace treaty with the Land of Fire after the 4th Shinobi World War, and the Land of Water doesn't want to do it for some reason. It was something about wanting to expand and seeing opportunities to seize more territory or whatever, and it's like, all right, that's fine, that's a cool plot point to focus on. You know, the Land of Waters being really greedy, they want to start some shit with people, they might declare war, whatever. The Mizukage, and I guess the entirety of the Hidden Mist Village as a whole, doesn't agree with it. Well, I shouldn't call Mei the Mizukage, that's Chojuro now, but the Mist Village, and at the very least the former Mizukage, they're in disagreement with the Land of Water about this. They're like, no, let's sign that peace treaty. We don't need to cause a whole bunch of unnecessary problems. But, like, you know, that's cool and all, but again, what is Anko doing there? You know, what is Shino doing there, as a matter of fact? I understand Mei, she used to be Mizukage, but, like, Anko is definitely just there for the reasons I said she was. They're just teasing everybody who used to be attracted to either her or Mei. They're just like, yeah, sucks to be you, fuck your waifu, or something like that. I don't know, maybe I'm harping on that for way too long. Like, I'm not, like, offended or upset by it or whatever. I was a little bit hurt when I first saw that Anko had gotten fat, but, you know, like, Mei, I didn't ever really pay too much attention to. Like, the point is, I just think this is funny. I'm not knocking the episode for this. I'm just like, alright, I see what you guys are doing. And, oh my god, it's already been so long into this review, and that's pretty much all I've talked about. So, I mean, I guess that's because there's not really much else to say. Like, we got a new opening, and the biggest thing that's been, like, going on is Mei discusses with Shino and Anko that the Land of Water is up to no good, and it's probably going to cause problems. It also explains why everybody in the mist has been so bitter towards the outsiders from the Hidden Leaf Village. And speaking of which, there's a fight at the very beginning of the episode between the group of kids from last week's episode, the ones that just sort of approached Boruto, Iwabe, and all of them and started harassing them, and, well, the same group of kids. Kagura is also helping them out in the middle of this battle this time. And I mean, like, the fight seems okay. It's not really spectacular. Boruto's strong suit is, this anime strong suit, I mean, is definitely not action. The Gaiden arc had some pretty decent action, especially the fight between Sakura and Shin. But, I mean, like, aside from that arc, there's really been, like, no action. I guess there was some at the end of the Sumire arc, but it was, like, it was dumb. You know, the fights were well choreographed and stuff, but Sumire was like, yeah, I have, like, fucking combat training from the foundation for my whole life. I'm gonna go toe-to-toe with the strongest genin ever, Mitsuki, and, like, it's like she was, like, doing backflips and all this elite, like, Chunin and Jonin level shit. It was dumb. But, yeah, that has nothing to do with this episode, does it? I'm just sort of trying to defend my stance that Boruto's action scenes aren't very good, because I know a lot of people are gonna jump me for that and be like, what are you talking about, Swagkage? There was this fight, and there was also this one, too. And I'm like, yeah, I get it, but for the most part, Boruto's action has been eh. The animation's kind of stiff, and everything's a lot, like, slower than it would have been if we were watching, say, Naruto or Shippuden. As a matter of fact, let me stop myself right there. I don't need to get into the Naruto and Shippuden comparisons. You know, like, I don't want to start comparing this series to its predecessors. It always makes people mad, so let me dodge that bullet. And then, like, aside from that action scene at the beginning, nothing else really happens. The two biggest things that go down in this episode are the talks between the Leaf and the Mist about the Land of Water and this fight at the beginning. Everything else is pretty much just Kagura either chilling out in the hotel room with all of the main characters, him playing a card game with them, and then that's about it. There's this one really cool scene at the end where I forget what his name is. I know he's a Hoshigaki. I'm just gonna call him Kisame Jr. because, yeah. Anyway, so, like, he just guts this one kid, pretty much like the main kid, like the ringleader of the group that's been antagonizing Boruto and all of his friends throughout the past few episodes. Like, he fucking guts him. He just slices his throat with a knife, and I was like, whoa, are you fucking serious? That's just how the episode is gonna end? Because nothing, like, dire or severe happened for pretty much the whole episode. You know, they touched on some pretty, I guess, quote-unquote, dark subject matters, with Kagura talking about how he's, like, a monster deep down and how he struggles to use a sword without going crazy or berserk or whatever. Like, he can't hold a sword without letting loose and having his, like, inner demon or, like, the inner, like, fourth Mizukage inside of him or something along those lines. I'm pretty sure you guys get the analogy. Take him over and cause him to just start killing people indiscriminately. Now, what's interesting about this aspect of Kagura's character is that he's next in line to be one of the 7 ninja swordsmen of the mist, and yet he's afraid to hold a sword. And I think that's really cool. I hope they explore this, and I hope that when he does become one of the 7 ninja swordsmen, and I do hope that he doesn't decide not to become one, by the way, but I do hope that when and if he does become one, they explore this, and he has to work really, really hard to get over it, because that's a pretty interesting facet of his character. Somebody who wants to become one of the greatest swordsmen in the entire world, and has the potential to do so, is actually next in line to be given the title, and yet is terrified of holding a sword because of what it does to him. I think that's really cool, and I want to see more of that, but yeah, anyway, moving on. So, you know, like, I guess that's the only other dark point of the episode, though it isn't really like that bad. But the point is, it just came out of nowhere. You know, again, like, they did have a little bit of like, okay, so this isn't super happy-go-lucky. You know, Kagura's been dealing with some pretty serious shit, but nobody died this episode. Nobody got stabbed this episode, and all of a sudden we just jump straight to a kid getting his fucking throat slit. And I was like, dude, that's hardcore as fuck. Hisame Jr. is pretty cool. So I guess, you know, I don't really have much else to say. Oh, yeah, they do play a card game. It looks like pretty much Naruto's like equivalent of Uno or something. But yeah, aside from that, nothing else really happens. Oh, wait. Other like big thing that happens in the episode is there's this scene where Kagura goes and talks to Chojuro, and he's like, yeah, the people from the Leaf are really nice. They've made me feel more welcome and included than anybody else. They're super friendly. I'm really happy right now. I haven't been this happy in a long time. And I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. That was a little bit heartwarming, but I don't really know why it was in the episode. It's like, it didn't need to be there. It was pretty clear that Kagura was happy to be around Boruto and all of his friends. You know, you didn't... it was a heartwarming scene. I just don't think it needed to be there. It felt a little redundant, if you get what I mean. Like, I know it seems a bit weird for me to compliment it and then say, but you could have taken it out, but it's you know, it seemed like a time waster. Like, you know, it did make me feel good, but yeah, okay, I'm just repeating myself now. Anyway, so general thoughts about the episode. Writing was solid, animation was okay. The only time it really like dipped was during the fight. Like, the art was fine. I'm not saying that, you know, you have very ugly still frames during the fight that you gotta look at. It's more that the animation's really stiff. Stuff looks a little bit unnatural. It doesn't look as intense as I would like for it to in the middle of like a super hardcore action scene, if you get what I mean. But everything else was fine. Directing was pretty solid. Everything was like, I just don't really have any complaints about this episode. I am looking forward to seeing what else the Land of Water subplot offers, though I don't think it's going to be as complex as it could. It seems to be the aspect of this arc with the most potential, because that scene did actually catch my attention. I was like, oh, okay, they're talking about politics now. Now, don't get like, I actually, no, I was about to say, don't go like full prequel mode and pay more attention to the politics than the conflict surrounding the politics, but I know this anime is not going to do that. I hope anyway that it'll focus more on the exciting stuff than all of the boring sitting down and talking. I also hope it handles it intelligently, but you know, Naruto, especially when it's like doing like really like fillery stuff like this, has a habit of not doing that. So I don't know, I'll just have to wait and see. Next week's episode looks pretty promising. Let me know your thoughts about this week's episode in the comments below, and until my next video, I'll talk to you later. Swagkage out. Bye.